Good afternoon and welcome to your lunch primetime news. You're with me, Jiten Gunasena. Let's start off with a look at the headlines. The delegation headed by Premier Ranil Wickremesinghe on an official tour of New Zealand held discussions with the country's finance minister today. Estate workers demonstrate demanding for an increase in their daily wages. Court grants permission for former Secretary of Defence Gotabaya Rajapaksa to travel overseas. 193 motorists who transported students on their bikes without helmets in Galle fined. South Africa beat Australia by 142 runs in second ODI. Now starting off with a look at your local news. Today marks World Habitat Day, and in 1985 the UN General Assembly designated the first Monday of October every year as World Habitat Day.
The 2016 World Habitat Day campaign aims to raise awareness about the need for affordable housing for all in urban areas, towns and cities. The official celebration of World Habitat Day will be held today under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena at the Sugala Devi village in Polonnaruwa. This week has also been declared as the Habitat Week. Chairman of the National Housing Development Authority, Lakvijaya Sagara Palansurya, said that an address delivered in the year 1985 by then Prime Minister late Ranasinghe Premadasa in Jamaica was instrumental in the declaration of World Habitat Day. According to Sagara Palansurya, over 1.2 million people in Sri Lanka are in need of permanent housing.
In other local news, former Secretary of Defence Gotabaya Rajapaksa arrived at the Colombo Magistrates Court this morning requesting for permission to travel overseas. On the 30th of September, Colombo Chief Magistrate Gihan Pilipitiya granted bail to Gotabaya Rajapaksa and 6 others in connection with the Avant-Garde case.
Attorney at law representing the Bribery Commission Tushari Jayaratna opposed the request made by former Major General Palitha Fernando to travel overseas, citing that the country he hopes to travel and the relevant information had not been submitted to the Bribery Commission. The attorney at law representing Gotabaya Rajapaksa stated in court that his client had received an invitation to participate in a defence conference held in China. He added that the invitation was extended after considering his client's services during the time of war within the country. Thereby, the court ordered him to sign a bond of 5 million rupees and granted permission for him to travel overseas.
In headline-making news, estate workers continue to stage protests today as well, demanding that their daily wages be increased to 1,000 rupees.
A correspondent said that estate workers of Nuwareli and Badula staged this demonstration. The protesters charged that the demands they had been making over the past few days to increase their daily wages had been ignored by authorities. Black flags were raised in the areas where the demonstrations took place.
The delegation headed by Premier Ranil Wickremesinghe on an official tour of New Zealand held discussions with the country's finance minister today.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe held discussions with the Finance Minister of New Zealand, Bill English, this morning. Discussions were tabled on how New Zealand could assist in the financial affairs of Sri Lanka. The Premier later met with the Governor of New Zealand. The focus of the meeting was the development of bilateral ties between the two nations. Meanwhile, last evening, the delegation headed by the Prime Minister visited the Hobbit village, where the world-famous Lord of the Rings trilogy and the Hobbit movie were filmed. A communique issued by the Prime Minister's office noted that the technology used in converting what once was an animal farm into the movie village commanded the attention of the Premier. The Prime Minister also engaged in a tour of the dairy manufacturing company Fonterra in Hamilton last morning. The company, one of the foremost dairy manufacturers in the world, constitutes of 10,500 families indulging in animal farming. The manufacturing plant produces 200,000 litres of milk daily. The Sri Lankan delegation were also given the opportunity to visit the animal farm owned by the chairman of Fonterra, John Wilson. The delegation focused its attention on acquiring the technology used in these animal farms for the benefit of local animal farmers in Sri Lanka.
In other local news, 5 persons, including the manager of the Vennapur Vaikala State Bank, have been arrested for allegedly breaking into the safe of the bank. Police say the investigations were launched following a complaint lodged by the bank manager himself, who is now under arrest. The attempted heist had taken place between the 15th and 19th of last month. The police said that the suspects who broke into the bank through the back door had displaced the security system. Investigations have revealed that the suspects had attempted to breach the safe using a gas cutter. The police said that the equipment used by the suspects, including the gas cutter, a gas cylinder and an oxygen cylinder have been taken into police custody. In other local news, a program to nab persons riding pillion without helmets was conducted in Gaur. The objective of this was to ensure the safety of children riding pillion. Deputy Inspector General of the Southern Province, W.K. Jalat, said that he expects to strictly impose the law on motorcyclists who transport their children without a helmet, putting their lives at risk. 193 motorcyclists were identified today alone within the Gaur Police Division who transported children pillion without a helmet. The police said that leaflets were distributed to inform all motorcyclists that it is mandatory for all passengers for a motorbike to wear a helmet. The police said that the program will be conducted throughout the entire Gaur district tomorrow. A spotted leopard was killed in an accident that occurred in Gelioyakandi this morning.
Our correspondent said that the accident occurred at 5 this morning. The accident resulted in the death of a 2.5 feet long spotted leopard. The police said that the Wildlife Department has been informed about the incident.
Well, that's a wrap of Lunch Primetime News. Join us again at 1:55 for more of the very latest. For the News1st team, I'm Jitendra Gunasena.